Amriteshwariye Namaha. I have the pleasure of speaking to you tonight about Christmas. As many of us know, Christmas is celebrated on December 25th. Many people think it is the most wonderful time of the year. For Christians, Christmas is one of the most important holidays, and whether you celebrate Christmas or not, you may know some of the traditions, like putting a Christmas tree with a star at the top, stringing festive Christmas lights and putting up lights in your windows, hanging up stockings and putting Christmas wreaths on your door, sending greeting cards, eating rich, delicious food like fruitcake, singing Christmas carols, setting out cookies and milk for Santa Claus to eat and drink.
Mama.
And of course, sharing presents, which we wrap and put under the tree on Christmas Day. The word Christmas is short for Christ's Mass, and it celebrates the birth of the baby Jesus, also known as the Feast of the Nativity. The season leading up to it is Advent. In church, children often participate in pageants and plays, celebrating the life and birth of baby Jesus. Here we see Mother Mary, her betrothed Saint Joseph, with baby Jesus in a manger because there was no room in the inn. The wise men from the east are bringing them gifts of frankincense, gold, and myrrh, gifts fit for a king, and choirs of angels are trumpeting the baby's arrival. He is watched over by the star in the east. Everyone knows something about Christmas, but many people miss the real meaning of Christmas. As usual, Amma described this best. In her Christmas Day message in 2016, Amma said, "When most people talk about Christmas, they talk about the great time they had with their family, the delicious dishes and sweets they prepared, and the gifts they received. Hardly anyone speaks about the prayers they offered, the spiritual practices they did, or the efforts they put towards bringing Jesus' teachings into action. In truth, these would comprise the real Christmas celebration." Amma is not saying that the other celebrations are not needed, just that Christmas only gains its true meaning when we use it to reflect on the life and teachings of Christ and to evaluate our spiritual progress. Real love for the Lord occurs when we imbibe these ideals for which He stood, for they help us to realize the kingdom of heaven within ourselves and transform our life into an offering of service to humanity. She continues, be it Sri Krishna, Sri Rama, or Jesus Christ. They all had to undergo a lot of challenges in life. However, they boldly faced them without breaking down. Moreover, they converted every obstacle into a stepping stone. This was their greatness. They showed us through their lives that if we are putting sincere effort towards a higher goal, no force in this world can stop us. Even after thousands of years, their lives still inspire us and fill us with strength. She reminds us that occasionally on our spiritual path, we should remember with gratitude all those who have helped us along our journey. And if there are people who have troubled us, we must develop the ability to forgive and forget. Such an attitude is like fuel that will take us a long way forward. So even though this year is different than most, and whether or not you celebrate Christmas, many of us exchange gifts or spend time with family or take time off from work and school to reflect on what is most important. The spirit of Christmas brings love and hope and peace and allows space for the divine to enter our humble lives, just as the baby Jesus entered in his humble beginnings. It allows families to embody the teachings of divinity, just as Mother Mary showed the greatest love to the Christ child. And it allows the divine to come to us in unexpected ways, as the angels came and the wise men were guided to the star's perfect light. This year, may we reflect on these words from Amma to help us realize the potential of the most wonderful time of the year. Om Amriteshwariye Namaha.
Om Amriteshwariye Namaha. Today, I'll be talking to you about the significance of Karthika Day. In Indian astronomy, the sky is divided into 27 constellations, spanning all 360 degrees of the sky. These constellations are more commonly referred to as stars or nakshatras. Every day of the lunar calendar is ruled or presided by one of these 27 stars. That way, in a span of 27 days, this calendar cycles through all 27 stars, and so 27 days is equal to one lunar month. Amma was born on the day presided by the star called Karthika. As we just discussed, the Karthika star has one day in every month. So the Karthika day in each month is celebrated like a monthly birthday for Amma. Special pujas are done in the Kalari shrine in Amritapuri on the Karthika day every month, and here in North America, we also celebrate the Karthika day by chanting the 1,000 names all day, and followed by Swami Ramanandaji's Karthika worship. Amma's birthday is the Karthika day of the lunar month called Kanni or Ashwin, which occurs in September or October, as we know. The Karthika day 2 months after Amma's birthday, which happened to be on November 29th, this year, also has special significance. The Karthika day of November-December is called Trikartika or Kartika Deepam. Deepam is light, and this particular day is celebrated as a mini Diwali or festival of lights in southern India. This day is also considered to be the birthday of Lord Kartikeya or Muruga, who is the son of Shiva and Parvati and the younger brother of Ganesha. The Karthika star, as mentioned before, is actually a constellation of stars comprising of about 6 to 9 stars, called the 6 Kritika sisters in Indian mythology. In Greek mythology, this constellation is called the 7 sisters, and modern astronomy calls this constellation Pleiades or Pleiades. As per legend, Kartikeya was created by Shiva and raised by the 6 stars, the 6 Kritika sisters. Hence, he got the name Kartikeya, which means son of Kritikas. But the 6 sisters felt that he was rightfully the son of Shiva and Parvati, so they brought him to earth, to Mother Parvati. When Kartikeya grew up, he helped free mankind from some demonic influences, so the legend goes. This particular star, the Pleiades, is also mentioned often in accounts of extraterrestrial encounters. If such accounts are to be believed, they say that the Pleiades system is the home of spiritually advanced beings who have been helping humans evolve in awareness since a long time. Regardless of such claims, this star system Kartika is associated with festivals of light and with spiritual awareness, so it's only apt that our dearest Amma was born in the influence of this star. Light, of course, symbolizes our soul in many ways. We can light any number of flames from a single flame, yet the original flame will not reduce. This is an essential quality of love. The more we spread love, the love in our own hearts does not diminish, it grows. The flame, or Deepam, also helps us to understand how we are all images of God, copied from the divine soul or Atma. Another quality of a flame is that it always points upward, which symbolizes the soul's nature to always aim high, regardless of life's ups and downs. On this occasion of Kartika, let us hope for the light of peace and spiritual awareness to fill our world and our hearts. Om Amriteshwariye Namaha.
Om Amrita Chaitanya Namaha. My name is Ishwari, and I'm here today to talk to you about the celebration of Hanukkah. There are many versions of the Hanukkah story, so this is just one of them. So Hanukkah means celebrates the inauguration and the celebration and rededication of a holy temple in Israel. As the story goes, because of some disputes, one of the holy temples in Jerusalem was not used in the appropriate manner and was not properly consecrated. And so the Hanukkah celebration honors the time where the Jewish people took back this temple and rededicated the altar and reconsecrated the altar to bring back its holiness and its cleanliness. And as part of the Jewish tradition, the reconsecration required them to burn a lamp of pure, fresh olive oil throughout the day and throughout the night. And as the story goes, at that time there was only one flask of fresh, pure olive oil to use. And back in this time, you couldn't, of course, go to the grocery store to buy the olive oil, and it needed to be fresh, so it couldn't be one that you had on hand. It had to be fresh and pure. Pick the olives and press them. So it was a problem that there was only one flask. And the miracle of Hanukkah was that this one flask of oil, which was only supposed to last one night, lasted all 8 nights. And so because of that, I'm sure you've seen this menorah, and we light the menorah for 8 days to celebrate the 8 nights that this miracle lasted with the oil. So you may notice that I've said 8 nights, but there's actually 9 spots in the menorah. And the center candle here is called the shamash. And the shamash is a helper candle that lights all of the other candles. Some of the traditions that you may have heard of or know about with Hanukkah are eating foods that have been cooked in oil, such as potato latkes, or these really delicious jelly donuts called sufganiyot. You may also know or heard of the dreidel, which is a spinning top. Each of the 4 sides of the dreidel correspond with a Hebrew letter that stand for the saying, Nes Gadol Hayasham. And what that means is that a great miracle has happened here. And so we use this top to teach our children about this tradition of Hanukkah. And when we think about celebrating Hanukkah, there's so many ways that we can think about Amma's teachings of love and compassion. And I'll share with you just 3. The first, when we think about miracles, it's a miracle that we have a being such as Amma in our lives to grace us with her love and her compassion. And I think very deeply about the shamash as the helper candle. And just as the helper candle lit the other candles, I think of how Amma's flame of love and compassion lights our own flame of love and compassion in our own hearts. And then finally, when I think about Hanukkah as the rededication of the altar and the cleaning of the altar, it's a wonderful time for us, and I wish for all of you that we reconsecrate the altar in our hearts and light the love of compassion within us. Om Amrita Chaitanya Namaha, and Happy Hanukkah!
Kwanzaa is an annual celebration of African culture and heritage in the United States. Kwanzaa is celebrated from December the 26th through January the 1st. Kwanzaa celebrates Black identity, encourages unity, and the preservation of African culture. It was introduced in the United States in 1966 during the Civil Rights Movement. Kwanzaa was created by Dr. Malana Karenga, Professor of African American Studies at the California State University at Long Beach. Kwanzaa celebrates the key values of family and community, and is based on African harvest festival traditions from various parts of Africa. There are 7 symbols of Kwanzaa. This grouping of symbolic items is placed on a mat or mkeka in a central area of the home. The other 6 items include mazo, or crops, which are fruits, vegetables, and nuts laid on the mkeka that symbolizes work, the harvest, and the nourishment of the tribe. Muhende, a corn, represents fertility and community childbearing. Mishuma Saba, or candles, is a set of 7 candles, 3 red, 3 green, and 1 black that are lit every night. The black candle in the center is lit by itself on the first night, and together with a red or green candle every night thereafter. Kinara, a candle holder, symbolizes history and ancestry, and the candles are laid out in a specific pattern. Black in the center, green on the right, and red on the left. Kikombo cha Umoja, or Unity Cup, plays a major part in the feast or party on the 6th night of Kwanzaa. The feast may include a traditional dinner, dancing, and African drumming. Zawadi, or Kwanzaa gifts, are gifts that are exchanged, and they always have cultural and historical meaning. Amma teaches us to meditate and reflect on the universal values of truth, peace, love, selflessness, self-sacrifice, and humility. Kwanzaa celebrants, likewise, are encouraged to discuss, meditate on, and dedicate themselves to a different value or principle every day. These 7 principles are Nguza Saba, offer ways to live a good life. Umoja, or unity, celebrates togetherness, not only in family, friend, and community groups, but in the world African population. Kujikchakulia, or self-determination, honors the ability to define, create, and speak for oneself. The individual must answer 3 basic questions. Who am I? Am I really who I say I am? And am I all that I ought to be? Ujima, a collective work and responsibility, focuses on communal problem solving and consensus building. Ujama, or cooperative economics, spotlights sharing work and wealth and following non-exploitative business practices that benefit the whole community. Nia, a purpose, is a commitment to upholding Black history and heritage and regaining prominence as a culture. Kuumba, a creativity, explores the obligation to beautify the community for future generations. There is a spiritual and ethical obligation to constantly renew and restore the great values and legacy of the ancestors. Imani, of faith, focuses on being positive and believing in the potential of oneself and the community as a whole. There is a profound belief in and commitment to all that is of value to us as a family, community, people, and culture. So as we can see, many of the principles of Kwanzaa reflect the teachings of Amma, who during an interfaith address held in honor of the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, expressed her vision for a future in which faith and meditation bring the world to a place of self-knowledge, unity, peace, and tranquility. Happy Kwanzaa, and may you have a new year filled with peace.
Om Amriteshwarye Namaha. Greetings of the season to all my sisters and brothers from around the world at this beautiful time of celebration. We have so many holidays at this time of year that has this essential theme, the giving of gifts. And what is giving? Giving, if you look up the definition, is to give a gift of something precious to someone with no expectation of anything in return. Certainly, the 3 wise kings, as they brought gifts of frankincense, gold, and myrrh, from far away to the baby Jesus had no expectations of anything in return. But what was their gift? Their gift was a gift of hope. And in the celebration of Kwanzaa, families come together to celebrate the abundance of the earth, the gift of abundance, the gift of the harvest, the gift of love and family and togetherness. And Hanukkah, the celebration of light in the darkness, when we light the candles to commemorate the time that we have received the gift of freedom. All these gifts are special gifts. So many of us think that we have to go and get a fancy present and wrap it in paper and tinsel and bestow it upon our beloved friend or family member. But really, the gifts, the small gifts, the gifts that we can give all the time are the most precious. The other day I was in the grocery store and I was watching an elderly woman who was having a really good time on an outing at the store. She had her mask on and she was staying away from most people. And I watched her go up to look at the shelf way up high. She wasn't very tall and she could not reach the item. And as I made my way over to try to help her, I noticed a young man who worked at the store, and he went over, easily grabbed that item from the shelf and brought it down to her. And in spite of her mask, I could see the big smile on her face as her eyes twinkled and her face lit up. And she looked at that young man and he looked at her, and then he too had that smile and the eyes twinkling. Those are the really special gifts that we give one another. I like to bake cookies for my grandchildren. They're far away and I have no idea whether they like them or not, but to me, that's the gift of giving of myself. Today we celebrate also Karthika. Karthika, as you know, is Amma's birth star, the time when the stars are the same as they were in the sky when Amma came to this earth and this birth. Karthika, for me, represents Amma. And Amma is the representation of every beautiful gift. She gives us with her embrace not only that physical gift, but a gift of emotional and spiritual well-being, teaching us, guiding us, being an example, singing us beautiful bhajans, and teaching us how to pray. Those are the gifts that we hold most precious. And I truly believe that if we just remember our most beloved Amma and all of her beautiful gifts, we too can give that gift of unconditional love and caring to one another. Om Amriteshwaraya Namaha.